Cyrus, it really is a very powerful movie that you made. What was the catalyst for you setting out on that journey?
Well, it was the book. The book was written by French-Iranian journalist by the name of Feridun Sahib Jam. It had a huge impact. When I read the book, we felt, boy, this could be a movie. We knew it would be a difficult and long journey to get it made, but we're glad that we went on that journey.
Did you have those thoughts as a filmmaker or as an Iranian?
Both. I responded to it as a filmmaker and as an Iranian. I just felt this was an important and powerful story. My wife, who wrote the screenplay with me, responded to it as a woman. She's American. And we just felt that this is a story that resonates, sort of across the board.
With your own Iranian background, were you aware that this was still going on? What was it that leapt out about this story? Was it this woman? Was it that location? What really grabbed you? You must have heard of Stoning, obviously.
Well, it was sort of a combination of the above. It was not only the power of the specific story and incident itself, but the realization that this continues unabatedly in Iran, that this is part of the penal code in Iran and is ongoing.
And how then does your relationship with this whole issue make you feel about this one particular case, which as you say, is not a solitary case, an isolation here. This is going on elsewhere, but I guess this is a catalyst here for public attention, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I think that it's due in part to the efforts of her son, who is appealing, not only inside of Iran but internationally, for some kind of clemency for his mother.
How common is it, to your knowledge?
Look, it's difficult to say. Stonings, we know they go on. It's not something that's advertised. I think there was a report from Amnesty International. There have been 126 executions already this year, but there was no indication as to how many of those were stonings. But, as of July 2009, there was a report that there were 9 women charged with adultery who were sentenced to be stoned to death. We just don't know. Yeah. We've been cut off from Iran, especially as a result of the demonstrations and riots a year ago against the regime that came out of the fraudulent election.
There was a quote that you had in the movie that I'm going to read because it really goes to the heart of the story you told and presumably other stories that have gone on in Iran. It was this. It was when a man accuses his wife, she must prove her innocence. That is the law. On the other hand, if a wife accuses her husband, she must prove his guilt. This is a world that most people can't fathom and a system that is clearly open to abuse, as we saw in your film.
Well, unfortunately, women are second and third class citizens in Iran, which also it makes it even more shocking when you realize that Iran was appointed to the Women's Rights Committee at the United Nations this year. So, we try to portray that as accurately as possible in the movie based on this real case. And I want people to be aware, too, that there is some hope at the end of this story, at the end of Soraya's story, just in the fact that it was able to get out and that people were able to be aware. And that's what's hopeful about this case that's going on right now.
Which in your movie was pure chance that it got out, wasn't it? It was a set of coincidences that this journalist ended up in this village.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he just happened upon this case. And I think it's important that this woman's case is getting out there now and that people are just becoming more and more aware.